Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. J.K. Rowling. Have you ever felt like everyone else is winning in life while you are stuck pretty much at the rock bottom? I've noticed that we live in this world where we constantly look at other people and admire their successes. We hear crazy stories about, I don't know, money, relationships of some friends or some rumors from media. We get jealous that people have more meaningful and deeper relationships, they have more lifestyle work, they have really high salary, and we also want to be richer. We actually also want the freedom of our time. We want freedom from where we live, whether we need to go to work, whether we can work remotely, and we pretty much don't understand why some bad things happen to us. And when we look at the successful people, it's even worse. We get this imposter syndrome, and I think this gap between our lives and this lives of other individuals feels so big at times, and we offer probably associate this kind of success of other people to better start, better, I don't know, richer parents, better background, whatever. And we find these excuses. And then when we find these excuses, we even feel worse. Sometimes even we get this feeling that life is falling apart because we don't reach the specific goal that we want, specific salary. And once one part of life falls down, it's also often related that other parts of life also deteriorate. And every part of life, once you feel down, and if you don't take care if you don't take care of it, it becomes neglected, and then we experience burnout, we experience depression, and on the top of that, social media channels like Instagram and Facebook, they don't really help. So if you take a look at the global data, I looked at Forbes, and you can take a look that 58% of people globally plan to look for a new job in 2025, which is already a sign, oh my God, so many people want to change their jobs. They are not satisfied with it. And actually, another interesting statistic is that in 2025, job burnout reached the all-time high level of 66% among all of the workers/employees. And taking a step back, I want to present you today with my personal story when I was at the rock bottom, and how I ended up successfully where I am today, growing my company and solving personal struggles. But based on my personal research and also on the successful people which I've seen in my life, I want to share with you some steps on how you can tackle the change and how you can move actually from this worst point of your life when everything feels like shit and to this best part of your life when the life is kind of from your dream and not everything is perfect, but you can actually achieve the goals which you set for yourself. And finally, at the end, I want to give you as this small, tangible, quick steps from today on how you can achieve the life and the money which you want. So that's pretty much it. So to start with, what if I told you this, that what is this worst moment of your life which you experience right now or you experienced in the past could spark the biggest breakthrough and lead you to the biggest success in your life? I like it. I mean, I like to see that discomfort is this sign of growth. So when you feel lost or uneasy, it might mean that you are evolving and you are breaking through to some new understanding. According to me, the pain kind of gives you the sign that something is not working in your life. It's often, I think Jeff Bezos told it that if you overcome your stresses and you face them, then this pain or stress actually disappears. And I partly agree with this. And I want to share with you my personal story. That is pretty much an example of it. In 2022, I was a consultant flying between Sweden, Netherlands, Poland. I was a top guy in the company. I was working at EY Parthenon, and I was having lots of really good top advisory projects. But sometimes I felt kind of empty, and I wanted to take some bigger risk. I wanted to join Boston Consulting Group, and they offered me a job in Berlin. And everyone in business school was saying this is the top brand, top firm, this is the dream. And this was basically the branding that really attracted me. And I thought also Berlin, after living in Zurich, where I was a little bit of lonely, felt like in between London and Warsaw, because I'm originally Polish, but London was this kind of international place where you want to go. Already there was a slowdown in London regarding the jobs, regarding that, also like the wealth of the people, that lots of people decided to move away from the UK. And I was thinking maybe Berlin is actually like the top place in the EU. BCG looks like winning, especially after studying in business schools. And then when I joined, inside I was totally disconnected. I was tired. I hated what I did. I was pretty much sick from stress. I even ended up in hospital and I was throwing up with blood because there was like so many things that didn't work out over there. And pretty up, the whole setup was ruining my life. Colleagues weren't appreciating how social and extrovert I am and appreciating my strengths. Lots of people were criticizing me and trying to push me into the direction of a person which I am not. And there were lots of unfortunate events that led me to the pretty much life I hated. So I was lonely, sick, with pretty much small earnings, so not so much disposable income, and surrounded by the people which I even didn't like. So once I remember, I sat and I started asking myself, so what am I doing to myself? What am I doing over here? Who actually sold me these dreams? So I think this was a trigger point, and I think in life most of us have this specific moments that are kind of the triggers, and that's when I actually started the shift. So I wrote down, I remember on one day, that I don't like my life. I'm running this diary every 1 or 2 months, and I'm writing down my thoughts about life. And I thought, okay, so let's write down the points and let's start changing what I don't like. So firstly, I started going to social events and I started doing some social sports. So I started going for yoga because I was thinking that so many people tell me about this. It's pretty social, and I wanted to get out of this working consulting bubble. And then secondly, I started diversifying my time with trips. So I started going for kite surfing. I started going back to Warsaw to see my family and friends. I started going for music festivals and just having a chill time. And actually, when I was searching for what is kind of meaning, if you were to describe it, I was traveling and I had this free time, and I was thinking, oh my God, why is it so problematic to do something with a group of people in a free time? Because whenever I was going somewhere, it was 3 p.m. Sunday, and I want to connect with the individuals. So I want to overcome this pain point which I have, which is like so need for social connection. There was doing some sports activity, doing something that is of a quality. I was thinking it's really hard to find it in Poland or in many different kind of cities. And I thought that this is the right of that, it's like a human right that the group's sports activity, so access to humans and doing sports which makes you healthy, should be accessible, fast and affordable. And I was thinking that searching for activities with Google Maps or Instagram is actually neither accessible nor fast nor affordable. And by accident, I met my co-founder after one music festival got cancelled, and we met on some forest trip. And we decided this is worth pursuing this idea. And I knew that even the smallest steps from my old life towards the new life, kind of like the solving problem, which I think is meaningful, was the best thing I could do. Because sometimes you need to take the smallest steps. And at this time, we decided that we should deliver the minimum viable product, so minimum version of our app. And taking a look with hindsight, 2 years later, we right now have 56 sports studios in our app. We have almost 10 employees. We have hundreds of users that are actively going through our app right now. And looking back, I think I made lots of these smart decisions. I made good reflections, and then I acted basically on this pain point or discomfort which I had. And I think what I want to present to you right now, these are my 5 key steps or 5 reflections, how you can also come from this bad point in your life when you feel like you're burned out, sick, you don't like your life, towards finding what you want to do and then really started acting upon it. So one day you're gonna just achieve the growth which you want. So from these 5 steps, I want to start the first one. So according to me, you should first always name what breaks you and write down this negatives about your life. So do you know exactly what's draining your energy every day? It's really important to identify, so who are the people or what kind of activities do you hate during your day? What are your problems? Do you do things in a way that, for example, they're not aligned with you? When do you feel the most disconnected? When are the times where you feel like this connection is so strong that you just want to just get out of the room and just go to the mountains or Thailand? And was very important that if you cannot name the problem, you will keep going through it every day. So I think the first point is you need to increase the awareness of the problem. And success, according to me, starts at the beginning by cutting your drainers. So you need to like cut the reason of why you feel negatively, because then it frees up the space for change. Because you can, I like this saying that life is like a layer, and you have like the energy givers, energy drainers, and the energy givers, they can put you some energy, but if you have like really, I would say, broad energy drainer, like the down of the layer, then it means that you're gonna lose lots of energy every day. So first start to basically patch the bottom of the layer, identify the drainers and stop them. Then secondly, I feel it's much more sensible to start not from the solution, so what you want to do as next, but try to define the problem which you want to tackle, and basically which problem is worth your attention. So I would ask myself, how do you want your life to look, and which problems in life are worth your attention? And this is regarding your relationships, this is regarding your work. So which problems do you every day want to solve? Which one do you want to actually prioritize, and which are worth your time? So you can take a look at your life, because I think this is a pretty broad questions. For some people this is pretty straightforward, that you just have some things that you know that you are passionate about, and you always want to solve them. But for some people it's not. So what I highly recommend is that go through the moments in your life when you feel the most yourself, and write down the commonalities which this moment have. Is it, for example, about uniting some individuals? Is it something that is connected to, I don't know, even helping some people? Is it something that you like being super technical, that you like to deep dive into the code and then just code during the day and night? Because according to me, you need to really structure what you want, because once you've really cut it for yourself, then it's really important to write, okay, so what is the direction in which I want to do? Who are the people I want to spend my time with? In which city? And I got to say that this is pretty important, because from at least my life, I like this saying that be careful with the prayers, because your prayers will be realized. And quite often, what I wished when I was in 20 or 19 years old, when I'm 29, I'm already reached it. I want to go to top universities. I went for them. I wanted to be in some good relationships, and I've been in really good relationships with the woman I admired at the time. I went to top universities. I got the best jobs. It was like a hard work, but at the end of it, you can reach it. But that's why it's important to really have suitable dreams. And once you have, once you again cut your negatives and you set yourself the new goals, what is really important is to set up the whole environment around you. So ask yourself, who are the people that I could ask for help next week that could make me realize the goals which I set for myself as of right now. So reach out to friends, reach out to new old colleagues, think about who are the people that are specialists in kind of this thing which I want to do. Let's say if you want to be a yoga teacher, find yoga instructors that are in the market. Find someone that was in your high school, even though you haven't talked to this person for 1 or 2 years, and just reach out to them. And I always like the saying that you should be ready for failure. It doesn't mean that you should win from the beginning. It means that right now you just set for yourself, okay, this is my goal, and you need to set up the whole environment so you can maximize your chances, but probably the first months will be really shitty. You're not going to reach what you want. I think it's more accidental, and it's not something that's probable that you're gonna reach your goals within the next 2 or 3 months. Quite often, we need to unlearn the quick gratification, which is shared in the society. Something regarding, I don't know, just Tinder as an example. When you feel that you can get a partner, you can get it tomorrow from Tinder. It means you need to really work hard toward reaching your goals. And this environment can really help you, because if you have the right setup of home, if you have the right people around you who can give you the good guidance and good advice, then one good conversation can shortcut sometimes half of your confusion and can really increase your chances. Because once you openly talk to the people that you are trying to reach something, that it also attracts the people who have answers to your questions. Because people gossip. And the more openly you're speaking about what you need, the more likely you are to attract the answers to your questions. And then, what is planning without execution? So my point 4 is make micro decisions and execute. And ask yourself, what's one tiny action that I could take right now to move forward? So don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment which you have right now and make it perfect. So if you so regarding the goal or regarding the environment, for the environment, just DM someone, go for some meetups. If you plan that you want to set up some company, go for some startup meetups. And I think at the end of the day, I like saying that you need to get to the smallest possible action that can give you the expected result. So if you want to have a big company, go and onboard your first customer. If you don't have a customer, you need to deliver something that is minimal product, or it's just like a minimal service which you need to deliver to them. If you want to get some relationship, you need to go to the places probably where these people are, or at least open yourself to go for this first date. If you go for one date, your chances of going to the relationships are much higher than going for none. And clarity also, you're gonna see, comes from action, just not thinking, because you're gonna learn that across the process, your idea, what you love and what you want to achieve, is gonna evolve, because you're gonna have new inputs, but because you've taken the risks and you go into the specific directions. And the point number 5 is take calculated risks and have full skin in the game, but do it in a sensible way. So I would say, what does not seem sensible to pursue now? Because according to me, it's good that you know your direction, but at the same time, I like that the life is more like an evolution, not revolution. Because going from one burnout and going from one depression to another is a simple thing. According to me, you should really work with some coach. You should have this whole environment set up around you, so you can take small risks and mini bets. And once you have like a quick gratification, you've got some momentum, then you should take bigger and bigger risks. But change, according to me, doesn't happen without some skin in the game. But at the same time, it needs to be calculated. I would say at the beginning, romanticize your idea. Go and go for some meetups. Think about who you want to realize your next chapter with. But in the long term, you can't be in 2 words. You can't have 2 jobs. You can't have 2 relationships, or in any different kind of aspects of life. Only full commitment and focus and the skin in the game can give you the expected result. So it's good if you're afraid at the beginning, but go fully on once you know this is the direction for you and this is the life which you want to have. So basically, we talked what you should do as a general rule, but if we're sitting here as of today, so how to start this next chapter? If you feel stuck, it doesn't mean you're weak. At the beginning, we're all afraid. We don't know what's the path to our goal, if you think stuck, it means that life is showing you that you should pay some attention there where you feel the most stuck. You need to notice where is your barrier and where your barrier is coming from. It's probably this barrier is a moment to pause and to take a look at this intentionally and understand where this barrier in general is coming from. And if you're at the very bottom of your life and you feel, oh my God, I don't have enough of energy, you can have a think about this, that life is a sinusoid, because for every person in our life, we've been to the top and also we've been to the bottom. So take a look at this, that you are probably right now at just your bottom, and it's okay, but it means that within the next months, you are very, very likely, there's like I would say 99% probability that you will be at your top. So start preparing for it. So here is my 4 tips how to progress to this top, or maybe I can say to the chapter 1 from chapter 0. So firstly, I would say re-rate your life on a different scale from -2 to 2, which -2 means is very sucks, +2 means that you are like super top in different parts of life. So write down basically what kinds of life do you have. Do you have like work, you have careers, you have your projects, you have your family, you have your sports. You can, with ChatGPT, write down all of different spheres of life do you have, and then write down how do you want to live, what is your goal, or what's your target, where you want to end up in this part of life. And if you rate your life as of today from -2 to 2, you can identify where's the biggest gap between where I am right now and where I want to be. And then once you can also, I think this is like a second that just came to my mind, what you can do, you can also prioritize, because if you have lots of -2s, then you can prioritize which is the most important for me to improve for right now. And then once you identified 1 or 2 areas in which you want to improve yourself, write down this one thing which you want to change as of today that will make it realistic. So don't worry about the how, don't worry about the when, but just if you were to find the easiest way to improve it and making the smallest possible step, what would you do? And just start doing it. Then once you identified what you want to change, then message one person can support you in your growth, and it will be good if this person is an expert regarding this sphere. So if you want to go for stable relationship, go to the people who are in their stable relationships and ask them how did they do it. If you want to go and set up a startup, go for one person, set up a startup, and don't look for massive conversation. Try to set up a call, try to go for a coffee, and just go there. You don't need to have any big plan. It's just start surrounding yourself by this winning environment. And the last part which I would recommend is to make one micro decision today that is aligned with your next chapter. And I like to call it a pivot as well. According to me, what you should change, and there's this saying that you cannot do the same actions and expect different results. You need to change your action. So if you were going to the same place every day, let's say the gym, go right now to the yoga or Pilates studio. If you were to go to, I don't know, some kind of a restaurant, order catering, order some delivery service. Try changing your ideas how you do the things, because you need to break up of the routine, how you were doing things in the past, and right now there's a time for a new. And by doing some new action, you're gonna figure out that some actions are impacted positively and some actions negatively. But it's the most important, you go into the direction which you set for yourself and you do the steps. So to conclude, are you ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it? Because I can tell you that there's this quote that you cannot go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And like I said, life moves in waves. Sometimes it's sinusoidal, sometimes it's chaotic, and at times it's beautiful. And your job isn't always during life to stay at the top, but your job is to keep going to the right direction. And you can see that the focus and the compound this interest or compound actions, they bring good long-term results. And if you're dreaming about being rich, let's say, and having the salary with the life which you want, I like to I like this saying from the book How to Get Rich. I know it sounds kind of funny, But there's a guy who was a billionaire, and he was successful, and he wrote down the whole book on his rules, how he won in life. And he's saying that if you follow the right decisions, you will get rich. Sooner than you deserve, but later than you expect. And you will. So if you want to hear more about progressing towards the next chapters of your life, pivoting something in your life that you don't like, reaching out the new goals, getting rich but with patience, and joining the compound interest, click subscribe to this channel. And thank you very much for listening to me. Good luck on reaching your new goals, and see you at the next episode.